Identity, the quest for Israel's future, Emanuel Shahaf. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Reflecting the situation right now in Israel, in the occupied territories, how would you describe it?
It's a low intensity civil war. This is the situation.
Civil war.
Absolutely. Every day we have incidents where Palestinians shoot at Israelis. Palestinians get killed. There's damage to this or that extent, but it's a daily occurrence, and it's at this time relatively low intensity, but there's every potential there for it to increase.
Would you think it might increase even towards the internal part of the state of Israel?
The potential is there, but at this stage, I don't see it happening inside Israel. If it happens if it increases in the territories, it might extend to the mixed cities in Israel, but it may be limited to fighting between Jews and Arabs, which is bad enough, but it wouldn't be Jews versus Jews. Although that is also a potential in the medium range if we don't manage to get things under control between the two sides in Israel itself.
If you were meeting right now Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister, the coming prime minister of the state of Israel, he would say, "Hey, I have my hands on the wheel."
Yeah, well, he doesn't remember that the last time he drove a vehicle by himself was a long time ago. And this is exactly the perfect analogy, because he won't be driving the vehicle. You may think that he has the hands on the wheels, but he won't be driving this vehicle. The people who are driving this vehicle are Smotrich and Ben Gvir, more than anybody else. And they're on the most extreme wings of Israel's government, and they will call the shots, and literally call the shots. There may be a lot of shots being fired as a result of their political activities.
Legal apartheid?
That's in the offing. Okay, the fact that parts of the defense ministry will be sort of civilized in order to take charge of the civilian population in the West Bank, the Jewish civilian population in the West Bank. That's basically a way of legalizing. It's almost annexation. Okay, it's another way of saying annexation, extending Israeli law even more than it's extended already, and that's basically a legal way of legally putting apartheid into place, as if it wasn't in place already, but that's legalizing it with all that entails.
So, take me to a practical scenario. What would happen if these terms in the agreement between Ben-Gvir, Smotrich, Bibi will take place? How would it affect the life in the territories?
Well, what happened, for example, that one of the settlements extends its territory over areas which are not under its jurisdiction, completely illegally, and they do that under the political protection of their masters, of Ben Gvir and Smotrich. The sovereign in the West Bank is the commander of the central command of the IDF. He wants to stop that. The means to do that is using the civil administration. The civil administration is under the auspices of Smotrich, and despite being a general, brigadier general, he will be appointed by Smotrich and won't react. Okay, so you'll have basically a situation of lawlessness. It'll be a chaos, because the army will want to do things to prevent things from happening, to prevent Palestinian uprisings, and the civil administration will try to please its political masters, and this will be impossible. The chief of staff will not be able to function, and I'm sure that some of the people will resign their commissions.
You're saying they might resign.
Yes, they might resign because, for example, the sovereign in the western in the West Bank is, like I said, is the commander of the Central Command, and he is responsible to the international community. He himself personally is responsible to the international community about over what happens in the territories. He himself is. So anything that happens there, which is against the international law, is on his back, okay? And he will be the one who won't be able to travel to Europe or to the United States because the International Court of Justice will have called for to have him arrested, okay? And this is very, very tangible because
he might travel to Hague if you would like.
Yes, he might. That's about the only place he will be able to go. And this is very, very tangible because the whole world is now looking at what's happening. The European Union is looking, the United Nations are looking, the Americans are looking. The Americans have already warned us in so many ways that they will have difficulty to support anything which will go against their policies and also against their values, which is the first time that this has come up.
It means that from their perspective, the new government is a new regime, a new set of values that might be against democracy as the American are grabbing it.
Absolutely. It's not only a clash of policies, which has always been the potential for the clash of policies, especially about the territories and vis-a-vis the Palestinians, that we've been living with that for decades. But this time it's also going to be over a clash of values, okay? When there will be legislation to the effect of bypassing the Supreme Court, or legislation which will implement Israeli law in the territories to this or that extent, basically skirting around the annexation, the Americans will say this is not the game we're playing, and they will respond. And they have so many ways to show us.
For instance,
I don't know how many people know, but
what is possible to say according to the censorship?
The most important anti-missile system of Israel, the Arrow anti-missile system, is run on IBM software, or years ago was run on IBM software, and it's commercial software. And at one stage, IBM announced that they're not going to support the software anymore, and Israel tried to convince IBM that we need this is important, this is a missile system defending the country, and IBM said, sorry, this is a commercial software, we're not going to support it anymore. So we had to approach the US government and ask them to legislate a clause by Congress in order to force IBM to support the software. Now this is just an example. There are numerous examples of this kind, which will make it very difficult for Israel to operate regularly unless the support by the US government is assured. And if we run foul of the US, both in terms of policy and in terms of values, that support cannot be assured anymore.
What do you think about the relationship between the new coming state of Israel and the Jewish people in the diaspora in the United States?
I think if what Smotrich's party wants to legislate, which is a cancellation of the grandchildren clause in the law of return.
What does it mean?
The clause says that grandchildren of Jews are entitled to Israeli citizenship if they come on Aliyah. If they cancel that, this will affect between 300,000 and 400,000 American Jews. And it basically means we don't give a damn about what you think. And that will have consequences. Okay, it's not that the relations between the diaspora in the United States has been very good for many years. It's been going down for a long time, but this is like a divorce. Okay, and this will compound the problems we have with the U.S. administration, because if we don't have the support of American Jewry in the American political scene, that will make it even more difficult for the government of Israel to continue functioning.
And then what might happen in practical life? For instance, if Israel needs any kind of help in the Senate or the Congress or the White House?
Well, the help will not be forthcoming. Okay, we will not have a veto cast in the United Nations with all the implications. There's a lot of things which will change, and I think unless this government comes to its senses, or it hasn't even been put together yet, but it starts thinking.
It's only
about,
the promo.
It's only the promo. If the promo, if the promo is going to come true, then we are going to be in real deep trouble.
Any upside that you would like to reflect towards the end of
I think
this report?
the upside is that it clears everybody's minds. It's okay. It's in the sense it's like winter is coming in a big way, and everybody has to start thinking about how we solve our main problem, which is our problem with the Palestinians. Because if push comes to shove, that's what's running the whole background. Okay, our constant struggle with the Palestinians, the fact that we haven't been able to come up with any reasonable proposal to make it better.
The federation
and
idea?
the federation idea will come up hopefully in these days, and we'll see how that goes.
Personally, Emanuel Shahaf, what do you feel after so many years of struggle, of writing books, giving lectures, meeting the top Israeli politicians, when you're seeing what is happening right now?
It's very sad for me to see what happened. I'm a very optimistic person, so I always see the bright side and I see the opportunity for change. But we'll have to go into the streets, if not more than that. Okay, so I don't discount the possibility of violence in the streets in Israel as a result of the political changes who are impending.
Violent also?
Violence, yes, violence in the streets, violence with people getting killed. Absolutely, it's not beyond the possibilities. Not only between Jews and Arabs, also between Jews and Jews. It's not beyond the realm of possibilities. So,
Emanuel Shahaf, Identity, the quest for Israel's better future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.